frequently. His special achievements, he recently got his competent communicator. He's working on his advanced communicator bronze. He joined Toastmasters because he really wants to speak like his hero, Ari Gold, who I'm sure just came up on the internet. His speech is the second in his advanced manuals. The speech objective is to inform us. The speech time is 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of this speech is Info from Toastmaster Matt Savrick's Travels. Please welcome to the lectern.
DTM Esposito, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. I just traveled abroad, and there's a lot to question. Where should you stay? Should you stay in a hostel? Should you stay in a hotel, a bed and breakfast, or be the guy on the couch? It really, there's a lot of different variables going into it. The cost, who you're going to be with, what are you going to do, what are you going to see. And once you're there, how are you going to get from point A to point B? You're going to take a train, you're going to fly, you're going to walk, you're going to take an overnight bus. So I'm going to give you a little info on my trip and how I came up with the decisions to do what I did and compare the different ways to sleep and travel. So first I have to tell my job that I was going on a business trip in Colorado. So that's no one would question what I'm doing. Why are you going on a trip? You're the young guy, you can't leave. So I tell them that, and I fly to London. So I could stay in either a hostel. A hostel is basically 2 beds, 4 beds, 10 beds, 20 beds in a room. And there's an invasion of privacy. It's cheaper. You can meet different travelers, people from all over the world, which is a good thing. And you can lose your belongings. A hotel. Everyone knows what a hotel is. They have them here. Same thing over there. If you're going by yourself with 1 or 2 people, you'll just stay amongst your 2 or 3 friends or yourself, and it may be good, maybe bad. A bed and breakfast. It's kind of like a hostel, but it's kind of more of like a grown-up hostel where you're with usually a girlfriend or something. And it's good because you also get to interact with fellow travelers while you're there. And the guy on the couch. There's a thing called couch surfing where you have a rating and you let people stay on your couch. If you're a good host, you put that on the site so they have a whole resume. If they were good, you put it, they were a great guest. So you could use that to stay in people's places. I've never done it. I know people that have. So those are your 4 options. So I get to London and I stay in a hostel. I pick the hostel. I'm by myself the first night because I'm meeting someone, they're not there. And it's very clean. And I meet different travelers, some from Canada, some from Morocco, some from Austria, and you get all these different experiences from people from all over the world. You go out, you travel. In London, I saw Big Ben, Westminster, the Paralympics were going on. Really interesting things. Everything's so historic there compared to the US, so clean, everyone's polite. I don't know if it's just the area I was in, everyone seemed educated. It was really fascinating. So then from London, I had to go to Paris. Now we either could fly, or take the Channel, or take a boat. I don't know if I'd swim. So the Channel is basically a train that goes underwater. You check into a station, you take your ticket, you go, it takes 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's about $150. You can fly, it's about $60. But you have to go there and wait, and they charge all these fees for luggage, and you have to go through security. When you go in the Channel, which I end up doing, it's just you go in, you show your things, go right through, not much security, send your passport, and then you end up in your next city. Then I was in Paris. Go to this next city, I get there immediately, everyone's rude. And maybe it's because we're Americans, but everyone's just rude right off the bat. They just talk to you in French, they know you don't speak French. Get there, the taxi cab driver was rude, we check in, the guy at the hostel was rude. Now I'm with my brother at this point. We get there, and things things started to get better once we started to meet up with the fellow travelers. And then, of course, everyone goes see the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame. And in France, the wine's like $1 for the cheap, and $5 it's good, and can't go wrong with that. The hostel there was a little bit better because the hostel had a gigantic community, so you could go and cook and eat, and they served breakfast. And the one thing I didn't like with this hostel is when you're in the shower, you have to push the water on, and after 10 seconds it shuts off. So I learned to just lean on it. So then from Paris, we decided to go to Berlin. And we flew. The airports in Paris are much more efficient and better than the airports in the US, because you get through all the security. Well, before you get to the security, you get to your gate, and then you go to the security. So it was like, your flight is basically going through security, nothing more, nothing less. It was a lot more efficient, a lot better, a lot quicker. We flew. Flying was pretty expensive. It took 7 hours to go from Paris to Berlin, an hour-and-a-half flight. When you're traveling, it's impossible to find anything. It's just, I don't know, it's just, use Google Maps ahead of time. Because you're in Germany, you don't speak German, and you're just trying to go from one place to another. In Berlin, go around, see the Berlin Wall, saw the concentration camp, really serious stuff over there. From Berlin, we took the overnight train, which was unusual because you get on this train at midnight and you get where you're going at 10 in the morning. The train stopped at 4 cities, so every time it stopped, it would... And as it stops, you wake up, and there's people coming off the train in different cities, people coming on the train. But I do recommend it because you don't have to find a place to sleep. You can spend an extra day somewhere. And I wouldn't recommend it if you wanted to party or stay out someplace at a certain time. So there's a trade-off there. Then after Amsterdam, everyone knows about Amsterdam, I don't have to say anything, coffee shops, which are going to be illegal at the end of the year to foreigners, unless that changes. Then I flew back to London. Easier flight there. Just the train systems are amazing in these countries. I don't know why we don't use them. You don't even need a car anywhere. Then from London, I spent 2 nights. Nice snow in the city when I got back. Flew back to the US. Now I'm back here. So I'd recommend if you're younger, do a hostel. If you're older, do a hotel and a tour. If you're in between, do a bed and breakfast. And have fun traveling. Fellow Toastmasters.